Skydome in Toronto. There's no place like home for the Argonauts, who've struggled on the road but can't lose here. Toronto's home win streak dates back almost a year. It will be threatened tonight by Ron Lancaster's Edmonton Eskimos, who are looking for a share of first place in the West. Edmonton at Toronto in Week 12 of the CFL on CBC. It's a serious game of strategy, but throw in full-body contact and anything can happen. Important players are often taken off the board. Last week, the Argonauts lost one of theirs. The starting quarterback was rocked. Matt Dunnigan may not return until the playoffs. Ricky Foggy was able to step in, and he's been moving all over the board. This game has also been costly for the Edmonton Eskimos, who had one of their key pieces captured a few weeks back. Tracy Ham will dress tonight, but will not play. Warren Jones gets a second chance to lead the Edmonton Eskimos. There are a lot of workers or pawns in this game, and one of them got a lick in on the Argonauts' shining night last week. Calgary's Dan Whitlam was a tad late in hitting the Rocket. Ragib Ismail has since shaken off the effects of a concussion and remains on the board. So does one of the Eskimos' major players, but he's been handed over to the opposition. Receiver David Williams was sent to the Argonauts just in time for tonight's clash, as the Grandmasters try to maneuver each other into the checkmate position. Football games go. Tonight's at Skydome is an easy sell. Two high-powered teams with several of the league's best players are all set to meet. Welcome to Skydome. Both these teams are missing some of their power, but they're still turbocharged with players like Gizmo Williams and Rocket Ismail, and they're enough to ignite any game. When the two highest-scoring teams in the league meet, something has to give. In the broadcast booth to describe the proceedings tonight and equipped with an abacus to keep track of the scoring, perhaps, are Don Whitman and Joe Galat.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. And yes, if this game follows the pattern that has been established this year in the CFL, the team to 50 first will win the football game. Even without Matt Dunnigan, Joe, I think it's safe to assume that under the direction of Ricky Foggy, the Argos will try and throw the football.
Well, Ricky Foggy looks to run first. He's had 6 touchdowns rushing. He's had 9 touchdowns passing, and they don't taper off at all when Ricky Foggy's in the lineup.
Without Tracy Ham, the Edmonton Eskimos may rely just a little more tonight on their ground game.
Well, they are 200-plus yards rushing, and that's unheard of in modern football. And when you've got Mr. Outside, Reggie Taylor, you've always got that threat. And they've got Mr. Inside, Blake Marshall, with 16 touchdowns.
He needs just 5 more touchdowns over the balance of the season to break the single-season record for touchdowns in a season. It should be a good one. The Argos looking to avenge their earlier loss to the Eskimos in Edmonton. Scott?
Don, injuries are part of the game. Matt Dunnigan just wants to know why he suffered most of them this season. We'll examine the extensive medical chart of the Argonaut quarterback on Live at the Half, and Matt Dunnigan will be with us. We'll also send you to Calgary to set the stage for the second half of this weekend's doubleheader. The Stampeders host the Hamilton Ticats tomorrow. At Skydome, the kickoff is next.
The Argos looking to avenge their loss in Edmonton by a score of 53-39 on August the 21st. The official opening kickoff tonight at the Skydome, performed by a former Argo star, Ulysses Crazy Legs Curtis. Adam Rita with a record of 7-4. Ron Lancaster in his second term as a head coach in the CFL, also at 7-4. The 7 victories he has accumulated as an Eskimo head coach surpass his total in 2 years as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider head coach. The Toronto Argonauts preparing to kick off to the Edmonton Eskimos. Hank Olisic, a former Edmonton Eskimo, looking after the kickoff assignment. There are 6 former Eskimos in the Argo lineup, 5 who have reversed the situation, and this is a reverse by the Eskimos that does not work. Bruce Elliott is the first man downfield to make the tackle, a 1-yard run back.
That's a nice job by Bruce Elliott. Good discipline. He came down in his lane. Even though they tried to trick the Argos with the reverse, Bruce Elliott was there to make the big play. Now they have to start out with Warren Jones, a young, relatively inexperienced quarterback from his own 18-yard line. That's not where the Eskimos would like to start.
Last week against Saskatchewan, he completed 12 of 30 passes for 225 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He can throw the football. According to Coach Ron Lancaster, he has a good throwing motion. But they run a reverse with Chris Armstrong, and Armstrong is brought down by Ed Berry after a pickup of about 8 yards.
That's a nice first down call because everybody knows what can happen out of that backfield. You know, Reggie Taylor's good, solid football player outside. Blake Marshall's that guy that can run the traps, run the power stuff inside. Craig Ellis is their favorite receiver, but Armstrong came out, ran the reverse on the first play of the ball game.
Second down and just over a yard. Blake Marshall is up across the 30-yard line, and he will have an Edmonton Eskimo first down. Marshall, a very talented individual, and of course last night he went over to watch a football game featuring his alma mater, Western Ontario, against the University of Toronto, and Western Ontario came up a winner.
Well, they responded for the Marshall brothers, amongst others. Chris Gaines is going to have a good football game. They're going to have to get pressure from Holman on the pass rush, although they don't want to be offsides.
And offside was Chris Armstrong. He was a good 3 strides across the line of scrimmage prior to that football being snapped.
One of the other keys to this game, I think, has to be the way Don Wilson plays that halfback position. He's got to come up, give some run support. More importantly, he's got to cover Craig Ellis on the passing routes.
Penalty is declined with the incomplete pass. It will be 2nd and 10. Ken Lazaruk is the referee tonight.
Really hard to call offsides this year on either team. You never know who's jumping first.
Warren Jones flipping it out, intended for Blake Marshall, and Darrell Ford, the linebacker, was covering him. So Warren Jones is unable to complete that 2nd down conversion, and the Edmonton Eskimos will send out the punting unit.
Well, Conop, the center for Edmonton, one of the better blockers in the league. He's on Holman, and look at the good job he does giving him pass protection. That's going to pay off as the game wears on.
There are many who believe that Rod Conop might be the best offensive lineman in the league.
He's one of the strongest and looks like one of the toughest.
Talking about toughness, people have commented not only is Rocket Ismail a very talented individual, he has taken some punishing hits, and they feel he's a very tough individual as well. He waits for the ball at the 40-yard line, draws a penalty flag, and is brought down at the 51. Almost certainly it will be a no yards call, an 11-yard run back. Enos Jackson was there to make the tackle.
They're going to have to square away their punt protection. Reggie Pleasant almost blocked that kick.
No yards call against the Edmonton Eskimos. Doug Parrish was inside that 5-yard area.
You got to give the 5-yard area, and it's got to be a circular 5 yards. You can't just do it vertically, and they definitely didn't give him the 5 yards. One of the things Lancaster's been upset with is their kickoff and punt coverage.
Well, obviously, we are having some difficulties with the mic being worn by referee Ken Lazaruk. But if you can lip read, you heard him say number 14 of the Eskimos was the man inside that 5-yard area.
Watch Foggy. He's going to look for the run. If he gets back and his receivers are manned up coverage, tight bump and run coverage, he'll take off and run the ball. Very effective at that.
Deep for Williams. He makes the catch at the 23.
Hello, David Williams to Toronto. Wouldn't you know that David Williams would come up with a big catch the first chance that he gets? Ricky Foggy knows David. They played together. They got him man-to-man, and that's what David Williams loves to do. He's just taller than his opponent. David Williams is down there on Doug Parrish. He just outreached him for the football.
Excellent catch by David Williams as Larry Ruck hits Ricky Foggy just as he released the football. It's a 33-yard gain, 1st and 10 from the 23 of the Eskimos. Foggy won't get a chance to throw, but he can run. He gets he doesn't get away from Danny Bass. And that was a fine move by the veteran linebacker Danny Bass to trip up Ricky Foggy. It appeared as though he was going to get away from Danny Bass, but he dove and managed to make the tackle.
Watch Danny Bass. He knows Foggy's faster than he is, but he sells out right at the end. I think the needle I gave him about Michigan State not looking so good today, that might have got him fired up.
Yes, Michigan State was clobbered today by Notre Dame. This is what the Argos have done inside the 25-yard line this season. 2nd and 7. Foggy's in trouble. He'll go down back at the 33 with Leroy Blue making the tackle with help from Brett Williams.
That's exactly what we knew would happen. When they get in a long yardage situation, they're going to come after you. And watch the twisting stunt. The lineman cross stunt. Leroy Blue, he takes advantage of those linemen having to do the blocking. Foggy is down. Good pressure from Brett Williams on the other side. Leroy Blue, I guess, would be credited with that sack.
So Lance Chomick will be attempting a 40-yard field goal. 10:54 remaining in the opening quarter. Not a great kick by Chomick, but it just got over the crossbar. And it's a 3-0 Toronto lead. Leading 3-0, the Argos prepare to kick off to the Edmonton Eskimos. Gizmo Williams and Eddie Thomas are deep. Number 17 is Thomas. Number 2 is the Gizmo. He hasn't handled a punt so far this evening, but he is within 141 yards of equaling the league record for punt return yardage in one season. If he doesn't do it tonight, it's almost certain that that mark will fall to the Gizmo before the season ends. Thomas on the kick return gets a couple of blocks as he tries to get outside Kevin Smiley, and he can't do it as Smelly trips him up and he goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line. A 23-yard run back by Thomas.
That's what happens when you have the Gizmo back there. The whole coverage team is so worried and concentrated on Gizmo, and you want to kick away from him. They kicked away from Gizmo, but they allowed him to come out with a good return. So Jones has got nice field position out to his 39-yard line. I would say that his running attack is going to help him.
Joe Weinberg goes wide left. Marshall, the man in motion, and the handoff goes to Taylor, and Taylor doesn't get much beyond the 40-yard line as he's brought down by Brian Warren and Harold Hallman.
Brian Warren came underneath the blocker. He really washed it down back to the inside, did a nice job.
Reggie Taylor, 790 yards this season. He won the rushing title in 1989 with 1,503 yards. Second and 7, 3 receivers wide to the left. A penalty flag as there was some early motion. Harold Hallman gets through on quarterback Warren Jones and drops him back at the 30-yard line.
Well, we talked about Hallman and how he's going to have to put some pressure on the defense. And watch Hallman come over Conop. Watch the move that he puts on him. He throws him by, and now he just shows some good foot speed. Jones feels the pressure. Hallman's right in around him, gives him a nice little hug and brings him down.
However, it's an offside call against the Argos, so rather than put the Edmonton Eskimos in a punting situation, the Eskimos retain possession. They're looking at 2nd and 3 now. The ball just beyond the 45-yard line. Reggie Taylor fights his way up to about the 49. That will be very close to a first down. Mike Campbell and Brian Warren were both in on the stop. The Eskimos haven't been totally happy with the running of Reggie Taylor this year. They have another running back in camp, and Ron Lancaster feels that may provide Taylor with a little incentive tonight.
I'll tell you something else that'll provide Taylor with some incentive. He just had a baby boy by the name of Rashad, and if that doesn't make you run, nothing will.
Warren Jones on 1st and 10, rolling to his left. Intended for Sandusky, incomplete.
Warren showing a little bit of jitters here early in the ball game, throwing the ball off his back foot. You see that ball sailing on him. Both passes that he's thrown to his left seems to be throwing off the back foot. He's letting that ball sail, going a little bit higher than he wants it to go. I'm sure he'll settle down, but one of the things that Edmonton's got to do, they've got to employ that running attack. They got to continue to do it on 1st down. I'm surprised at a 1st down pass call.
Jones, of course, is not the threat as a runner, such as Tracy Ham presents to a defense. Over the middle, Armstrong has a 1st down. He gets to the 48, but there is also a penalty flag. It could be a late hit against the Toronto Argonauts' Darryl Ford.
Is Jones a marquee player?
Well, that was the edict from the league, but it doesn't matter whether it's a marquee player or any player.
Roughing the passer, Toronto number 21, 1st down Edmonton.
Late hits should be called.
Watch Ford come in. What Jones has done is well, that's late. I mean, that's a couple step hit, and you're going to get penalized. But what Jones is doing that's aggravating the Toronto defense is he's changing the calls at the line of scrimmage. He's catching them so anxious to come out of there. Your start is your best weapon on defense. And he's changing his calls. He's really giving them trouble on their starts.
Incomplete. Over the middle, intended for Craig Ellis.
Well, it's a good thing it was incomplete, because I think he was intending it for Craig Ellis, but he threw it more to Darryl Ford, it looked like, or to Donnie Moan than he did to Ellis.
It's interesting to watch Jones, how he sets up behind the center.
Yeah, he's got that stagger thing. He's got that leg back, and that, I think, allows him to get out of there faster. Side saddle almost.
On 2nd down, he throws. Reggie Taylor is stopped at the 30-yard line, short of a 1st down. Ed Berry came up to make the tackle.
One of the disadvantages with that, Don, when you have your legs staggered like that and you're dropping back, is you're completely blind behind you. He's so staggered and his shoulders are so turned that anything coming from the backside rush, he won't be aware of. That's the advantage of backpedal. You can see both sides of the field. When you open up like that, you can't see anything behind you. That's oftentimes where the pass rush comes from.
Jerry Corrick, in only his 2nd game since returning to the Eskimos, indicated he has had some problems readjusting to the kicking tee that he is allowed to use in the CFL and which he could not use in the NFL. And his first field goal attempt goes wide for a single point with 7:07 remaining in the opening quarter.
David Williams was dealt to Toronto by Edmonton on Wednesday, and he told me just before kickoff tonight he relishes the chance to be part of the Argonaut attack.
A receiver, you always like being in high-powered situations. We got a lot of weapons, and we're going to go out and use them tonight and get a win against Edmonton.
And Coach Adam Rita is hoping that David Williams rebounds to his 1988 Shenley Award-winning form. He, of course, played for Adam Rita when both were with the BC Lions. And Joe Galat was the general manager of that football team.
And I signed David Williams for that big contract he was telling us about yesterday.
Darryl Clack, the ball carrier, he's one of the new additions to the Argonaut offense.
I think what's got to happen tonight is that Foggy's got to be able to find Darrell K. Smith. That's going to be a key to this ball game. And, of course, they got to put the ball in the Rocket's hand. A guy who is as fast as the Rocket, he's got to carry the ball, either as a receiver or as a runner.
2nd and 7. Foggy with pretty good protection, now throws deep. Masadi can't hang on.
Ricky would like to have thrown that ball a little further, but he would have thrown it out of bounds. Actually, I think he did as best he could do. He put the ball right into the sideline, and Masadi's just going to have to out-jump him, reach for the ball. It's a pretty good throw. What happens is the safety comes over and sort of spoils things.
Ricky Foggy last year with the Argos completed 89 of 169 pass attempts for 21 touchdowns. Henry Williams waits for the ball at the 18-yard line. A penalty flag. There's no question that Blaine Schmidt was hit from behind by either Enos Jackson or Mike McLean. I think it may have been Jackson, but Blaine Schmidt draws a penalty flag, a 24-yard return that will go for naught.
What the bad part of that is that Blaine Schmidt, at 265 pounds, probably wouldn't have caught in the giz. He probably wouldn't have tackled the giz.
Legal block, Edmonton, number 29, first down, Edmonton.
I think Gizmo would have avoided that tackler. Now is when he needs help. Right here is where he should have some people up in front of the block trying to help him out.
Well, Jackson hit Blaine Schmidt right in the back, and he did that directly in front of the official, and that produced a flag and takes the ball back to the 13-yard line. 1st and 10 from that point.
He should hit somebody smaller.
Blake Marshall struggles for about 3.
You can just see Toronto using their gap defense. They got a guy in every gap to try to stop the run. Watch everybody on the blue uniforms get into a hole. They're trying to get into a gap to stop that running game. They're doing a good job because everybody's playing his responsibility. As long as they do that, they'll give the Eskimos trouble.
2nd and 7, 3-1 is the score. 4:53 remaining in this opening quarter. Toronto leading. Blake Marshall has his feet taken out from under him by Carl Brazeley, who moved up quickly from his inside halfback position, a position in which I'm sure he is more comfortable than playing on the corner.
Oh, you can see how happy Brazeley is. He's waving to the crowd, but Brazeley did what he had to do. Blake Marshall outweighs him by 100 pounds. He can't get up around his shoulders. Marshall would carry him for the first down. So Brazeley went down, cut him down, kept him from getting the first down. Smart play by Brazeley.
Well, the Eskimos, as Joe said earlier, have had problems on their kickoff and punt coverage teams. It's an area of concern for head coach Ron Lancaster. And Jerry Korick gets a high punt away that the Rocket waits for at the 50-yard line. And he is downed as he gets to the 52 of the Eskimos by Dan Murphy. A 9-yard run back after a 42-yard kick with 4:17 remaining in the opening quarter. The Argos will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 52-yard line, leading by a score of 3-1. A field goal by Lance Chomick. A missed attempt by Jerry Korick, accounting for the only scoring thus far in the game. Darrell Smith over the middle for a first down at the 35.
Well, one of the things that Edmonton has done traditionally against Toronto, they've played a lot more zone coverage. Watch Leroy Blue. He sees Darrell Smith coming in the back, and he can't get there in time. Danny Bass is on the other side. They found the seam. Darrell Smith made a nice reception.
Darrell Smith, of course, is the Argos' all-time leading receiver. Moving past Terry Greer. Fake inside by Foggy. He's going to throw deep for Masadi. Touchdown! Acadia graduate Paul Masadi really extended in the end zone to make this
job of coming over on David Shelton, but you got to credit Masadi with an extension, laid out, gutsy catch.
His job isn't complete. He moves out to hold for Lance Chomik, who adds the point after. So the Toronto Argonauts strike very quickly. Paul Masadi on the receiving end of a 36-yard touchdown throw from Ricky Foggy.
That's a guy you have to feel happy for. This Masadi, he's the last guy off the practice field every night. He just loves to play football, loves to work out, and when you see him have success, you know there's some justice in life.
Well, you almost forget about Masadi when you take a look at the other Toronto receivers, David Williams, Raghib Ismail, and Darrell Smith.
Watch Masadi hold the football here. Whoops, slip, turn, put it back down in time. He even put his hand up in time. This guy's an athlete.
He was so excited about scoring the touchdown that he had some difficulties pinning the ball for the extra point. But he does get it down in time, and in just 2 plays, the Argos moved 52 yards, the 36-yard strike to Masadi, producing the touchdown. Foggy has completed 3 of 4 attempts so far tonight for 86 yards.
Well, give Foggy some credit because the ball was perfectly thrown. He rolled out, found enough time to get the ball down, and Masadi did a great job of extending and pulling it in.
Eddie Thomas on the kickoff return. Good tackle as J.P. Esquerdo, who excels on those special teams, came diving through to limit the run back to 21 yards.
Esquerdo and Elliott, you see them all the time on kick coverage. They do a nice job.
The Argos attempting to move 4 points ahead of Winnipeg in the East. Winnipeg at home tomorrow against the Ottawa Roughriders. Ottawa, of course, looking to move into a tie for second with Winnipeg. In the West, the Edmonton Eskimos looking to tie Calgary for first place and break out of that deadlock with BC. BC in action later this evening, entertaining the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hitch screen to Sandusky. Darrell Ford did a good job of penetrating to make the tackle after a gain of about 2 yards.
Well, that's the problem with the hitch screen. You got all those people coming out to block, and then you got Darrell Ford running out there just like the blockers. You got to make somebody miss, and Darrell Ford doesn't usually miss. That's what you call a chest-on-chest tackle. That's a perfect tackle in the open field. Your chest on his chest, pull him in, give him a squeeze, and take him down.
2nd and 8 Edmonton. The ball is at the 36. Movement at the line of scrimmage. A penalty flag. It appeared as though Campbell advanced prior to the ball being snapped. Harold Hallman and Rodney Harding make a sandwich of quarterback Warren Jones. But I think it will be a penalty call against Toronto.
Warren Jones knows Toronto's trying to blitz. They're trying to work a lot of stunts up front, so he delays the count. And look what happened. Campbell just jumped off sides. Jones knows he's got it free when he should really just let it go.
Offside. Toronto, number 99. 2nd down, repeated.
Smart play by Warren Jones. Adam Reed is winning the chess match at this point.
2nd and 3 now. The ball is at the 41. Reggie Taylor slipped as he tried to cut back in, and he may have lost a yard in the play, so the Eskimos will be forced to kick it away.
Blocked an outside man.
The Eskimos this year had their lowest scoring game of the season in their very first outing, a victory over the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they scored 34 points. They've been averaging 41.7 points per game this season. 3 times they have gone over the 50 mark. So far tonight, they've got just 1 point. Reggie Pleasant has come close a couple of times to blocking a Jerry Korek punt. This time, Pleasant is prevented from getting through, and the kick will bounce to the sidelines where it's taken by the Rocket. And he's down at the 40. The tackle made by Jed Roberts, who works very well on those special teams for the Eskimos.
Well, here comes the running back. Darryl Clack was a #2 draft choice from Arizona State. He went with the Dallas Cowboys, and things just didn't work out. And now he's up here, and he's probably #3 in line because they had the pinball. They also tried Palmer, and now they've got Clack in there, so it'll be interesting. He's a 215-pounder. It'll be good to see what he can do running with the ball.
Coach Adam Rita said he's more of a Robert Mims, Anthony Parker type of runner than a pinball. I don't know what you'd describe the running style of Ricky Foggy as, but Foggy doesn't really enjoy running inside. He prefers to get outside to do most of his running.
I don't think Ricky Foggy would like to run that ball that time because you talk about somebody getting hit. Watch Foggy when they come in there and just put the wood right on him. I mean, he is spun around. That's a tough hit for Ricky Foggy. He shouldn't take too many of those.
2nd and 8. Foggy looking to throw. Can he find someone? To the sidelines. It's a complete pass to the Rocket for a first down.
You see what happens when your quarterback runs is that the defensive line takes a look before they rush upfield. Watch the Edmonton team look for Ricky Foggy because they know he runs with the ball. So they're looking for Foggy to see if he's going to run, and he just sets back in the pocket. This is what kills you. He's in the pocket, delivers the ball perfectly to the Rocket.
Lancaster made an interesting comment when we had breakfast with him this morning talking about the Rocket. He said it's very difficult to bump him at the line of scrimmage because if he ever gets that step on you,
he's gone. He's got such good speed.
Clack inside, up across the 45-yard line, loses the football, but had the whistle gone. Leroy Blue made the initial contact with Clack.
He might have been on top of a few bodies when he fumbled. Now, the ground can't make you fumble, but your own teammates can if you fall on top of them. I think that's what they're discussing.
Field judge Bud Steen and referee Ken Lazarek discussing the play, and I believe they're going to rule that the whistle had gone. And that is also the end of the opening quarter here at the Sky Dome, with the Argos enjoying a 9-point lead. Here at the Sky Dome, we start the second quarter with the Eskimos trailing by 9 and the Argos retaining possession. They ruled on the final play of the opening quarter that the ball did not bounce away from Clack until he was down. And it's 1st and 10 to start the second quarter from the 42 of the Eskimos. This time, Clack is going to be dropped for a loss by Benny Goods, who got through very quickly. Statistically, in the first half, the Argos had the edge with 106 net yards to 41 for the Eskimos.
And they did it half the amount of time. That's good football.
Edmonton had the football for almost twice as long as the Argos, but the Argos struck very quickly on one possession, 52 yards in just 2 plays for the major score.
That's the dimension that Foggy gives you because he's got the scrambling ability, and just when you think you've got that solved, he'll throw the football. So he's got a perfect combination of the ability to run, scramble around, and then to throw the ball and deliver it where you want it.
Hank Olisic's kick will go out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Let's bring in Scott Oak.
Well, as always, the CFL's outstanding player, Mike Pinball Clemens, making a fashion statement here on the sidelines. A little ensemble he threw together before the game tonight, but never mind that. When are you going to play again?
I was hoping this week, but it looks like next week now. I think I would have been able to play tonight, but the leg is only 75% of strength. Even though I practiced the last few days and I'm able to run, they would like to get it a little stronger before I got back on the field.
I want to tell you one thing about that outfit that you got on, Mike. You got to have it to get away with that sort of thing, and I want to tell you, you got it.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Scott.
Okay, Don.
I think that might very well become the new CBC uniform.
That looks like what Scott Oak wears when he plays squash.
1st and 10, Edmonton. The ball is at the 23. Jones throwing deep for Sandusky. He could not make the catch. He was working against Ed Berry. I think think he would have had some problems there even had he caught that football, because I believe he would have been out of bounds.
Well, Jimmy's got such good moves. He's not a fast receiver, but he's a receiver that'll put moves on you. And watch him work to the outside. Yeah, he was pretty well pinched in by the sideline, too, so even a reception wouldn't have helped.
Jones has completed 4 of 9 attempts for just 21 yards as he brings the Eskimos over the ball on 2nd and 10 from the 23. Here comes the pressure, and down goes Jones. The ball comes loose. Toronto's got it. Hallman made the hit to pop the ball loose, and Darryl Ford recovered.
Well, they were in a blitz situation. You can see Hallman come all the way around. Jones is down, looking to come around. Hallman is all the way outside. He really jarred him and knocked the ball loose.
So the Argos take over after that big hit by Harold Hallman on Jones. The ball inside the 20-yard line, and the throw intended for Darryl Smith is low and behind him.
Benny Good is really livid. He was being held. He just got a big bear hug put on him, and he finally wrenched loose and hurried Foggy on the throw, but they really had a hold up. He was upset. But there's the guy that made the big play. And we talked about him at the top of the show that he had to get in here. He's got to put the pressure on. He's one of those good, strong pass rushers. He caused the turnover, the fumble, and put Toronto in scoring position. Good job by Hallman.
Foggy tripped as he attempted to step back after taking the snap, and the Eskimos made sure he stayed down back at the 23-yard line, so Coach Adam Rita sends in the field goal unit.
You get a running quarterback, a guy who's really quick, and what happens is the left guard dropped back, put his right foot back and stepped on Ricky Foggy. The right guard, or the left guard, Danny Frone, made the tackle. Watch Dan's leg step on Foggy's foot. I mean, when you can't get your foot out there, you can't run, Ricky.
Yeah, when you got a guy the size of Frone standing on your foot, it's pretty tough to move away.
Especially if you have corns.
Chomik will be attempting a field goal of 29 yards. His first was good from 40. And his second is good as well. 12:33 remaining in the half. And the Argos lead by 12.
Live at the half tonight, we'll look at the sordid medical history of Toronto quarterback Matt Dunnigan. Nothing more than pulls and one break, but enough to have him lead the league in injuries. We'll go to Calgary to preview the Stamps game with Hamilton tomorrow. We'll deal with Dan Wicklam's late hit on Rocket Ismail last weekend, and we'll also talk to Bruce McNall, owner of an expensive stable of athletes. He's just now getting over a rough weekend on.
And there's no truth to the rumor, Scott, that someone spilled coffee on his Honus Wagner baseball card last week. Armstrong on the kickoff return, doing a good job of bringing it back to the 46-yard line. A 62-yard kickoff and a 32-yard run back by Chris Armstrong.
Well, Illicit is trying to keep the ball away from the gizmo, and Armstrong turned this one into it. That's the second good return they've had. Maybe they'll kick it to the gizmo next time.
Sandusky goes wide to the right, Weinberg to the left. Jones dumps it off over the middle to Reggie Taylor out to the 51-yard line. That will be a pickup of about 6. He was stopped by Darryl Ford. How the Argos would love to have the man in brown in the lineup.
Well, you know,
Pinball Clemens along with number 25, Raghib Ismail.
Look at David Williams. He's holding court over there. They're not only going to have great football players, they're going to have some personalities on this team.
2nd and 4, Edmonton. Jones throws to Sandusky, and Sandusky is stopped right in his tracks by Carl Brazeley. That's the second time they've attempted that hitch sprain. And Sandusky Picked up a couple of yards, but not enough for a first down as Carl Brazley, the Argos number 7, was there to defend against the Eskimos number 7.
Well, Jimmy did a good job just catching the football, and there wasn't any room for him to go anywhere. Brazley came out and helped in on the tackle. But it looks like the big guys are in there. So the elephant team, they call them, they're in there, and they're going to try to push him back and get that first down. I'll bet you Marshall gets the ball.
Gambling on third down. Marshall gets the ball, but he's tackled for a loss. Don Wilson with an outstanding play to drop Blake Marshall for a loss.
That's what we said at the top of the show. Don Wilson's got to come up big on the running plays, and guess what? He came up big. You don't stop Blake Marshall very often, but Wilson came inside the block of Michael Souls, and he made the hit.
Adam Rita was telling us yesterday that Don Wilson may be his best defensive player this year, and he certainly...
He looked like it on that play. What Souls is trying to do is to block him out, but Wilson came right underneath the block. And there's just no room for Marshall to make the first down. That's a big play. That's a turnover. Argos have the ball now on their own 50.
Masadi was the intended receiver. Jackson was there to pick it up. Enos Jackson credited with the interception as Foggy tried to find Masadi over the middle, and Enos Jackson battling with Masadi for the football, and he comes up with it.
Well, credit the defensive line of Edmonton. Look at Toaster Williams. He gets his hands up, makes him throw the ball a little bit high, gives Enos Jackson some reaction time. So the defensive line of Edmonton really made that trajectory on the ball go up high. Enos Jackson did a nice job of bringing it in.
The Eskimos have had all sorts of problems this year with injuries to people in their secondary. Weinberg trying to go deep against Reggie Pleasant. Incomplete.
That's a perfect play by Reggie Pleasant. He used the sideline. Weinberg has some speed, doesn't he, Don? He looks like what Coach Lancaster said he has. He can move. But that sideline didn't help, and Reggie Pleasant was on the other side, so he got pinned in a little bit. Not too much there. Roy Bennett and Stephon Jordan were the two defensive backs that were hurt from Edmonton. But Enos Jackson's still there.
They've got two rookies playing the corner, and Lancaster was saying they've both done a good job. Armstrong battling for a first down. He should have it out to the 28-yard line. Mike Campbell and Chris Gaines, along with Carl Brazley, came in to make the tackle.
You want to know what Armstrong did? He did a smart thing. He ran away from the linebackers. Watch him run away from the linebackers, and as he comes back over, he runs into the defensive backs and pushes them for the first down. He knows who to hit. Get away from those linemen and linebackers. Run into defensive backs.
The ball is on the 28, first and 10 Edmonton. Jones completes the pass to Marshall, and Marshall challenges Don Wilson and Chris Gaines and bowls Chris Gaines over as he picks up the first down at the 45.
Well, it's a dump off, but one of the nice things that Warren Jones did on this play is that's not his primary receiver. He came off the primary receiver, put it to Marshall. Marshall made Moan miss, and now watch him lower his shoulder and boom, right into Gaines and knocked him over backwards.
First and 10 from the 45. Jones to Weinberg. Weinberg gets away from Pleasant and is taken down by Carl Brazley, but not before Weinberg picks up another Edmonton first down.
He should get 2 first downs because he carried Brazley.
A product of Johnson C. Smith. Weinberg with an Edmonton first down.
Jones is really getting his rhythm. He's looking the field over. He's starting to feel what's going on. He's picking apart the defense, the man-to-man coverage, and he's staying away from the free safety, Munford.
First and 10, the ball is at the Toronto 47. 8:14 remaining in the half. Jones over the middle to Blake Marshall. This time, Marshall is unable to escape Darryl Ford.
Nevertheless, a nice pickup on first down. Marshall's paying him back for stopping him on that short yardage play.
The ball is at the 42.
I bet he could play defensive line, Blake Marshall. Look at those arms.
Well, he's the younger brother of Greg, who played with the Edmonton Eskimos. Jones almost had his pass intercepted as it deflected from Weinberg towards Chris Gaines, and Gaines was unable to hang on.
That's the guy we said you'd have to watch tonight, Harold Hallman. They put a vice on Warren Jones. Campbell and Hallman came in, and they viced him right between the two of them, and Jones got up slow that time. That's the way to take away the rhythm of a quarterback. Put him in the vice and tighten it up.
The Rocket goes back as the lone returner. Torek stands at his own 54-yard line for this third down kick. Trying to angle it out of bounds, and he does put it out at the 13. So with 7:16 remaining in the half, the Argos lead by 12, and they'll have a first down at their own 13 when we return. Well, the Eskimos are pretty happy with the play of their two rookie corners this season. Eddie Thomas, who leads the team in interceptions with 6 this year. He's out of San Jose State. Over on the other side, Doug Parrish played at San Francisco State. It's interesting that Edmonton has had the football for 14 minutes and 49 seconds. Toronto, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. But the Argos lead 13-1. Foggy is going to throw deep. And David Williams could not catch up with it as he was being covered by Eddie Thomas.
I think Ron Lancaster summed it up. You know, they had the injuries in the secondary. They got 2 rookie corners, and he said every week they seem to have a little bit more confidence. And that's where you start building a defense. If you have corners that can hold up, your pass rush will come along.
2nd and 10, Toronto. The ball is at the 13. 6:48 remaining in the half here at the Skydome. The Argos have been unbeaten in the Skydome this year. Their last loss a year ago to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on October 13th. 21-16 was the score. Foggy looking for David Williams, and Williams slipped. Leroy Blue and Eddie Thomas were both defending against Williams. It will be 3rd and 10.
I think Foggy wanted to get the Williams coming over the middle, and it certainly shook up the zone coverage. He was open, but Leroy Blues lowered his head.
I wonder if Bruce McNaugh might be on the telephone to New York to find out what the status of Bo Sultan is, a horse he owns, who will be running in the Man of War Stakes tomorrow. And Bruce will be heading to New York tomorrow to watch the race. It's the feature race tomorrow. Bruce is an 80% owner of the horse. Wayne Gretzky has a 10% interest in Bo Sultan. 3rd down punt by Hank Olisic. It bounces to the Gizmo. There's a penalty flag in the play. Actually, 2 penalty flags as the Gizmo is down at the 50-yard line. A 5-yard run back. We'll sort out the penalties when we return. The Gizmo got up from that 5-yard return limping slightly, and he is trying to walk it off at the Edmonton bench. A no yards call against the Argos, number 29. Marcus Thomas is called for no yards, but then there's an illegal block assessed against Trent Brown. The result is a 5-yard pickup for the Eskimos, taking the ball to the 50-yard line.
That's what you call a net gain of 5 yards after 2 penalties. Good field position.
Hand off to Reggie Taylor, and he was tripped up by Mike Campbell, who got the handouts as he was being taken down. Steve Krupe was the man trying to block Mike Campbell.
Campbell just stuffed him. He drove him right into the ball. And that's the tough part with Reggie Taylor coming off the knee injury, wearing the brace. He's having trouble if he doesn't get a good start. He's got to get through the front line into the secondary to show what he can really do.
Campbell again, and this time Jones goes down back at the 50-yard line.
They're running the stunts, and Campbell comes in. It's called a twist stunt. And what they're trying to do is come all the way inside. Watch Campbell, and they didn't bring a lineman in to pick it up. That's why they run the crossing stunts, because offensive linemen sometimes can't get underneath to pick it up. Campbell got the sack. Big play. Took them out of field position.
Corrick stands at his own 35-yard line for this third down kick. The ball bounces to the Rocket. He looks for a block, gets one. He has such great lateral movement. A 31-yard run back. It appeared several times as though there was absolutely nowhere for him to go. And he turns it into a 31-yard gain. Let's take another look at it.
There are a lot of backs that can run fast, and there are a lot of backs that can go laterally without losing speed. There are very few that can do both, and that's what he does. He can cut, he can still run fast. He never loses the speed that he's garnered. That's a nice return.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 52. 4:32 remaining in the half. There was a mix-up between Foggy and his receiver, Ragib Ismail, because Foggy threw the ball about 15 yards further downfield than the Rocket had run.
Well, he got jammed, and I think it paid off for Parrish that time to come up and play him tight. You know, a lot of people would look at that 4 completions and say, well, that's not very good. But when you look at 104 yards and 1 touchdown, that's pretty good.
21 yards per completion.
Not too bad.
No, 26 yards per completion. Never did excel at mathematics. Sideline pattern intended for Masati, incomplete.
It's a good thing Foggy has mobility, because they were in on the blitz. And you got to think that Leroy Blue putting pressure on. I don't think they'd have gotten the ball off, or Willie Pless was coming in, if they didn't have a guy that could move like Foggy. So I guess they should consider themselves fortunate. Adam Reed is not happy without a completion, but they didn't get a sack.
Hank Olisic will be punting to the Gizmo, who stands back at the 15-yard line, now decides to move up a little closer to the 20. Olisic with a 38-yard average. A kick that chases the Gizmo back to the 11. Penalty flag on the play as Williams goes down at the 20-yard line, stopped by Blaine Schmidt. A 10-yard return after a 47-yard kick, but there was a penalty flag on the play with 3:37 remaining in the half. A face mask call against the Eskimos on the return attempt.
I thought it might be another no yards, and it reminds you of the Johnny Rogers rule when they put it in. It used to be only a 5-yard for no yards.
On the face mask, Toronto number 54, 1st down Edmonton.
However, Johnny Rogers would get 5 yards, so everybody decided to tackle him anyway. That's why they changed it to the 15-yard penalty.
Well, Ken Lazaruk confused us. He initially pointed to Edmonton as the team that had drawn the penalty, but it was a face mask call against Blaine Schmidt. And that takes the ball out to the 35-yard line.
I think it was the Gizmo's face mask.
Weinberg makes the catch at the 50-yard line for a 1st down.
So there's 2 things they can do to stop the Gizmo. Get down there and get him before he makes the first. The other thing he can do is grab his face mask. Here it comes. That's a nice delivery. There's Holman breathing down his back again and hitting him in the back.
3:02 is the time remaining in the half. The Argos leading 13-1. Rod Conop, the Eskimos center, was injured on that last play, but he was able to get up and walk off to the Edmonton bench. Blake Dermott has moved to center. Mike Dumaresque has moved to the left tackle position that Dermott usually occupies. Sandusky gets away from Barry and picks up a 1st down before he's taken out of bounds by Don Wilson.
Jimmy Sandusky, over 30 years old now, played with the BC Lions. He played with the Seahawks, and he learned some things from Largent. This is a Steve Largent move all the way. Watch Sandusky fake to the outside. Whoops, come back inside. That's a nice pickup. He made about 7 more yards after he put the move on.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 43. 2:45 remaining in the half. A reverse with Armstrong, and the Argos weren't buying. There were 3 of them there, including linebacker Don Moan.
They had some backside pass rush, and that's what Ronnie Lancaster's telling them. They're rushing you from the backside. The reverse went right into the teeth of the pass rush. Ron's a little upset with that call. See, here he is coming right into the backside, and Moan is unblocked. He forces the play back inside. Reggie Taylor makes the tackle. Just no room to go.
A loss of 6. 2nd and 16. Here comes the pressure. Jones unloads. It's intercepted by Carl Brazeley. Blake Marshall made the tackle, but Carl Brazeley with the interception provides the Argos with another turnover.
Well, Ellis is one of the favorite receivers of both quarterbacks, Tracy Ham and Warren Jones, but look what happened. He fell down. That's not the quarterback's fault. He should have been there. Brazeley was opportunistic. The old veteran came through again. Come on, Ellis, stay up on your feet.
That's the 3rd turnover by the Eskimos. 2:11 remaining in the half. 1st and 10 Toronto. The Argos are at their own 50-yard line. Penalty flag in the play. Intended for Darrell Smith. He had been bumping with Shelton as he attempted to run his pattern.
It's a good thing Blake Marshall made the tackle on the last play because Brazeley had a lot of field.
A procedure call against the Argos, but with the incomplete pass, it will probably be declined.
League of procedure, no and Toronto, decline. 2nd down.
Maybe David Williams not being up on the line of scrimmage, and look at Adam Reed. He's upset on his birthday. You know, he doesn't look to be 57.
He's not going to be happy, you saying he's 57.
What was he?
44 today.
44, that's right.
Darrell Smith trying to make the catch over on the sidelines. He was being covered by David Sheldon. And the Argos are forced to kick it away.
That ball is delivered when he makes his break. Foggy puts the ball right where you want it, low and outside. That's what a receiver wants. Well, that's right there. What kind of gloves are those?
I'm not sure whether those are glass cutter's gloves or not, but like most receivers, he does wear gloves.
Tactonic or deep sea diver gloves?
Hank Olisic stands at his 35 for this 3rd down punt. Williams takes it at the 20. He can make a lot of people miss. Kardash caught him and may have prevented a touchdown at the 48-yard line. A 41 return by Henry the Gizmo Williams.
You talk about playing chess. Watch what he does to these return people. He sees a pawn over here, a knight over there, and he gets all the way outside to use his blockers, and he makes people miss. If it's not for Kardash, he's gone.
He came into this game only 141 yards shy of the single-season record for punt return yardage established by another Eskimo, Anthony Hunter, in 1989. Blake Marshall picks up about 5 yards as he battles his way to the 44, being stopped there by Don Moan.
That shows good patience by Warren Jones. When they get up against the zone coverage and he dumps the ball off, he's only making 5-6 yards to the backs. That's going to get the defense playing up tight. That'll set up the deep passes.
2nd and 5 Edmonton from the 44 of the Argos. Sideline pattern to Sandusky. He should have the first down before being wrestled to the ground by Ed Berry.
I'm really impressed with Warren Jones as a passer. He's throwing some passes that cover a lot of, not so far down the field, but they cover a lot of ground, and they're getting there with a nice tight spiral. He's getting the ball. He's throwing darts.
1:20 remaining in the half. 13-1. The Argos lead the Eskimos. It's a first down. Sideline pass intended for Sandusky, incomplete.
Coleman has had good pressure all day. Now they're getting some help from Warren. Brian Warren's coming in, and that throws your passer off a little bit. The pressure you get consistently inside from Hallman, and then Warren coming from the outside. Jones has to be aware of that pressure. He's getting rushed nearly every down.
2nd and 10. Some movement at the line of scrimmage. No penalty flag over the middle to Armstrong. A first down and more. To the 20-yard line with 1:04 remaining in the half.
I think Warren Jones is getting good reads before the ball is snapped. He is playing the defense. He's watching to see what the defense is doing. He sees man coverage, just waits for the receiver to make his break over the middle.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 20. Warren Jones throwing to the end zone intended for Armstrong. It's low and incomplete.
He just got too anxious. The ball was there. I mean, he had a chance for a touchdown. You know, he was throwing off the back foot. Now he threw off the front foot. That was a touchdown if he could have delivered the football. Look at him. He's really excited now. He knows they're close to the goal line. Wants to get it in and make this a ball game.
He looks to the bench for some help in making this call. Tracy Ham standing beside Ron Lancaster. 50 seconds remaining in the half. 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 20-yard line. Intended for Craig Ellis near the goal line, and the ball deflected off Ellis and Don Wilson and hit the crossbar. Ellis might have made that catch had it not been for Don Wilson, who really stepped into him at the same instant the ball arrived.
Well, here's Don Wilson. He's the goalie, and watch what he does. He pounces in there right as the ball gets into his hand, knocked it up, hit the goal post. The puck came back out. Pretty good pressure here by Warren, and Campbell was coming in.
Field goal attempt by Jerry Corrick, and it is good. So with 41 seconds remaining in the half, Jerry Corrick hits on the field goal to make it a 13-4 Toronto Argonaut lead over the Edmonton Eskimos. This game certainly a contrast to some of the high-scoring affairs we've been witness to this season, including the previous meeting between these two teams that resulted in a 53-39 Edmonton win on August the 21st at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton.
I like the play of Don Wilson. He's made a couple all-star plays. You know, that play that last time on the pass, and the play before that on the short yardage to Blake Marshall. Don Wilson isn't the greatest athlete out there for the Toronto Argos, but he's a tough guy. He does a lot of good things, and he's a smart football player. If you had to go through agility tests, I don't think he'd win it.
Well, we repeat what Adam Rita told us yesterday. His best defensive player, his most consistent game in and game out all year, has probably been Don Wilson.
And that's what you look for in a professional athlete of any kind, is consistency.
Jerry Corrick preparing to kick off. The Argos set up in a diamond return formation. That's to try and prevent opposing teams from kicking away from the rocket. They're going to kick it towards the sidelines, and it will go out of bounds.
Well, that's what the kick's designed to prevent, is that blooper kick that goes over to the sideline. Hamilton got an onside kick against Toronto, and that really was a big play in the ball game. Since that time, Adam Reed has changed the return formation.
Rita made an interesting comment. He said, with all the outstanding punt returners in the league this year, when teams attempt to kick the ball out of bounds, and if it goes out of bounds on the fly, there should be a penalty, much the same as there is on a kickoff.
Yeah, that would be an intentional, I guess you'd call it intentional kick out of bounds.
Legal procedure on the kickoff, decline. First down, Toronto.
So that's what Adam would like to see. He's got the rocket in his pocket. He'd like to see something like that. They penalize them when they don't kick to his boy.
Well, almost every team in the league has an outstanding kick returner.
Yeah, you know, Jaycox and the rocket and the pinball.
The gizmo.
The gizmo.
Williams on the sidelines, no catch. They rule that he was out of bounds. On the sidelines, let's bring in Scott Oak.
Don on the Eskimo bench does not look good for Rod Conniff with an ice pack on his left knee. It's a recurrence of an old injury, a bruised cartilage. They'll look at him in the halftime and hope that he can come back in the second half. Eskimos moved the ball without him on that last series, but to be sure, their offensive line will be a whole lot weaker if Rod Conniff cannot return to this game.
A Wilfrid Laurier product, who some believe may be the best lineman in the CFL, a two-time All-Canadian. Foggy to Williams, caught by Thomas, and Brown comes in to assist as well, as Foggy is a little slow in getting to his feet, taking a hit just as he threw the football from Leroy Blue.
Ricky Foggy, we talk about a vice. Well, this was a landslide. Bourgeot, Blue. That was a well-timed hit. I mean, they just pinched him right in there. Many goods. I mean, all three of them in at the same time. Wow.
First and 10 from the 50-yard line. Masadi makes the catch. And I don't believe he was the intended receiver. I think they were looking for Darrell Smith.
That's exactly what happened, Don. They wanted to get the ball to Smith. Masadi just reached down to his shoelaces and picked the ball off. That's an interception by your own team. Masadi had an interception for a nice game.
32 yards, 11 seconds remaining. Time for one play, but they'll have to hurry it. To the end zone for Williams. Touchdown! Thomas was bumping Williams all the way down the field, but Williams managed to maintain his stride and his balance and made the end zone touchdown catch.
Well, you got to give Williams credit because he was getting bumped all the way down the field, but I'll tell you what, after the hit Foggy took to come back and complete two passes and get a touchdown with time running out, good job by Ricky Foggy and a nice catch by David Williams.
Shorty, how you doing, baby?
David Williams wouldn't have any problem adjusting to the Argo scheme because he was familiar with Rita's offensive philosophies from his days in British Columbia.
Well, the two played together, and they make a nice connection on that play. But you see Ricky Foggy, first guy to come over to congratulate Williams. He likes having another big receiver like Darrell K. Smith. I'll tell you what else he should like. He should like that move Masadi made to set this touchdown up.
Well, they always have referred to David Williams as a goal for the ball type of receiver who has great timing, and we certainly saw evidence of it on that touchdown reception.
David knows how to adjust to the football. That's one of his better assets. I don't think he's particularly fast, but he always makes good adjustments, and that's what Adam said. He's a go-for-the-ball kind of guy. He went for the football. 6 points.
3 seconds remaining. Lance Chomick preparing to kick off for the Argos. 20-4 is the score. Chomick kicking it to the sidelines. There's a penalty flag. Jordan Gartner made the catch and attempted the return, but there was a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. I think it's going to be an offside call against the Argos. Now, time would normally have expired, but with the penalty against the Argos, We're going to get one more play, I think. Lazarick explaining the options.
Offside on the kickoff. Number 5, Toronto. Toronto will re-kick 5 yards back.
Now, if the Eskimos had taken the ball, of course, there would not be time for another play. So they have to have the Argos re-kick from 5 yards further back.
When you have the gizmo on your side, you got to take every chance you can get, every shot on goal. And that's what they're thinking. If they try to kick the ball deep, you got a chance for the gizmo to go all the way. And he's done it. Now they're using a diamond return. They've got people up to the sides, and Gizmo's the deep middle return man.
Again, the ball is kicked towards the sidelines, taken by Jordan Gartner. He tried to pitch it out, and he was fortunate that there was an Eskimo there to pounce on it. Chris Armstrong grabbing that attempted lateral on the final play of the half. It's the Argonauts 20, the Eskimos 4.
The league's top team lives in Calgary. The Stampeders are all set to play in the second half of our CFL on CBC doubleheader tomorrow, 18 hours in advance of kickoff. Let's go there to hear from Scott Russell.
Thank you, Scott. The Hamilton Tiger Cats in town to play the Calgary Stampeders tomorrow. Here in Calgary, though, the talk isn't so much about the Tiger Cats as it is about the Rocket, a concussion, and a hit by Dan Wicklum of the Calgary Stampeders. Dan Kepley, you hit many guys in your CFL career. Was this one as bad as everybody says it was?
Well, it really was to an extent. I mean, this Dan Wicklum, I mean, he's a linebacker. He gets paid to tackle people, and he knows what he's doing with his body. When he came in there and he took a shot at him, I think he had an opportunity that he could have lifted his head up, maybe hit him with the chest, rather than dropping the head and making an initial spear. I don't think it had any point of being number 25, the Rocket, or anybody else. I just think it was the technique that Wicklum hit the guy with.
Okay, Dan, in Toronto, the Argonauts are calling for the suspension of Wicklum. Here in Calgary, the Stampeders are just trying to play the hit down.
Well, we feel it to be just an average football hit. It was unfortunate that his right knee caught the side of the Rocket's head, and that's what caused the concussion. The penalty was legitimate. You could call that piling on or spearing, but again, there was no intent to hurt anybody.
Besides Dan Wicklum, the other news is the sale of the Calgary Stampeders. It appears the biggest hurdle has been overcome, and that is the Alberta government's approval of the refinancing plan. From there, it's up to the CFL to approve the deal, and then it goes on to the Calgary Stampeders shareholders. Local businessman Larry Rickman says he anticipates a good reception from both groups. Could be by Tuesday that we hear of the sale of the Calgary Stampeders. Plenty of news as a backdrop to this game between the Stampeders and the Ticats. Right now, back to Scotto.
Scott, thank you. And we understand the governors will hold a conference call on Monday and may at that time approve the sale of the Calgary Stampeders. Now, on the heels of Dan Wicklum's late hit on the Rocket, the commissioner faxed every team in the league. The Live at the Half has obtained a copy of that fax, and the most controversial paragraph in it is essentially a cease and desist order on late hits of marquee players. Raghib Ismail is every bit a marquee player, and the man who pays him is with us now. We welcome Argonaut owner Bruce McNall. Well, Bruce, surely the fax does not mean that late hits are okay on players who are not expected to be marquee, but I want to know from you if you think the late hit on the Rocket is what precipitated the fax from the commissioner.
Oh, it might have. It seems like it's the timing must have been obvious, but I think from our standpoint anyway, it's a contact sport. If it was a legal hit, fine. If it was a late hit and deserves some punishment, fine too. I haven't myself seen the replay, but I'm surprised that it generated all of this. I think the wording may have been a little bit off, because I think any player that gets hurt illegally, there should be something done no matter who or what's happened to him.
One of your partners in Argonaut ownership, Wayne Gretzky, was very vocal over the hit on the Rocket and said players should be careful about what they do to the meal ticket. But I expect that you'd agree that the great one would no more expect the Rocket to be accorded special treatment, but he would have expected to get special treatment from Gary Suter in the Canada Cup.
Well, that's probably why he said it, too. It was right at the heels of him, too. It was a bad weekend for me, I'll tell you. No, I mean, he's never looked for special treatment. He understands better than anybody that if you're a marquee player, sometimes people are going to look at you a little bit more, and that's part of the hazards of the game. I would hope that people are intelligent enough to know whether it's a Wayne Gretzky or whether it's a Rocket Ismail that treat them them the same as you treat everybody else. But at the same time, don't go out of your way to hurt them just because they are highly paid players that are trying to be marquees. Don't go out of your way to do it, I think.
If Dan Whitlam is suspended, that'll open up a whole can of worms. The commissioner will have to start dealing out suspensions with reckless abandon. Do you think that Dan Whitlam should be suspended?
Again, I haven't really seen the replay of it at all, so my view is that if it was a very reckless and intentionally done hit, maybe he should be suspended. Then again, so should anybody else if they've done the same thing. If it was just a regular hit and regular 15-yard penalty that got associated with it, I don't think he should be.
You'll be part of a conference call on Monday. Do you expect to rubber stamp the sale of the Calgary Stampeders to Larry Rickman?
My understanding is that it's going to go through fairly well. I have not yet seen all the information, but Larry seemed to be very excited about it. I think everybody's in favor of it, and as far as I know, it should be no problem at all.
This would tip the scales in the CFL in favor of private ownership. 5 teams privately owned. I suspect that sits well with you.
It does. My goal, I think, is to have every team eventually privately owned, or at least having people that are. I mean, some of the cities like Edmonton here or Saskatchewan that are also publicly owned teams are doing very well. But I always think private ownership is the way to go.
Bruce McNall, thanks for your time.
Happy to start anytime.
One other CFL note. The Ottawa Rough Riders play in Winnipeg tomorrow, and defensive lineman Glenn Kulka will not be part of the Rough Riders lineup. He was arrested in Ottawa on Wednesday night and charged the following day with possession of a small amount of marijuana and cocaine, but he's not been suspended by the Riders or the league, simply placed on reserve because the Riders feel he would not be able to focus on the game. He'll appear in an Ottawa court next Friday. We note the CFL, while obviously not condoning the use of illegal substances, does not test for them, but that's as much a financial consideration as anything else. Now, having said all that, the focus tonight is, as it should be, on the field, and here's Don Whitman with Joe Gillette.
Well, Scott, on Tuesday, the Edmonton Eskimos dealt David Williams to the Toronto Argonauts. I don't think they felt at the time that Williams would do quite as much damage as he has done tonight.
Well, David Williams has certainly looked good, and I think the guy pulling the trigger, Ricky Foggy, has looked really good as well.
Late in the game, Ricky Foggy managed to find David Williams for a touchdown, and this is our play of the half.
Well, Ricky Foggy just got up off the ground from taking a couple terrible hits, and they're fighting all the way down the field. And what happens to David Williams is he goes right for the football. He adjusted to the ball. The ball wasn't perfectly thrown. David throttled down, cradled the ball back in, and that's one of the things Adam Rita said. I like the way the guy goes for the ball. He made a great adjustment.
Well, the Argos haven't had many plays through the first 30 minutes of this football game, but they do have a 16-point lead. It's Toronto 20 and Edmonton 4.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Miller Lite, always a great call. By GMC Truck. And by 7-Up. It's cool to be clear.
Halftime at the Sky Dome with the Argos leading the Eskimos 20-4. The Argos have the edge in net yards and in passing yards, but in time of possession, the Eskimos have a big advantage. The Eskimos have put the football in the air 25 times, the Argos 17 times. The Eskimos had hoped, I think, to try and establish a bit of a ground game, but Reggie Taylor and Blake Marshall have not had a great deal of success running the football.
They sure haven't gotten them through their line, and that's the problem. You've got to get both Blake Marshall, Reggie Taylor, you've got to get them into the secondary when they can become effective.
Tom Mickey, a former quarterback in the CFL with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, acquired by the Eskimos as injury insurance. The backup quarterback tonight to Warren Jones. Tracy Ham, the injured quarterback, is also dressed. I think the Argos are going to ask the Eskimos to kick it off again as the ball goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Ron Lancaster was saying if this was late in the year and it was a critical game, we would probably dress Tracy Ham and play him in this football game. But Ham's role tonight will be that of a backup.
I think Ron Lancaster wants Tracy Ham to be there late in the year when it is critical. That's why he's holding him out. You know, this series of 4 games in 16 days and that type of thing, almost all the teams are banged up now, and this is when they're going to start to go into the stretch. The next 7 ball games, they've gotten over that hump. The 4 games in 16 days. Now they can play almost 1 game a week and recover from some of the bumps.
Clack couldn't handle that kick. Masadi picked it up. And Masadi gets it back to the 39 before being stopped by Steve Cruppy.
Foggy doesn't want to see Masadi limping because Masadi is a very big, integral part of their offense tonight. Ricky ran early in the game, and then he settled down and started throwing the ball. Now, 7 completions doesn't sound great out of 17 attempts, but 176 yards, that's good. 2 touchdowns, that's good. 1 interception, a little bad.
He has not thrown the football to his back so far tonight, which is somewhat unusual. Deep for Williams. He's got it. A 48-yard gain for David Williams, who got in behind Doug Parrish. This trade didn't have quite the same impact of another Toronto-Edmonton trade this week, but it could have a real bearing on the outcome of this football game.
That's a great picture from the truck. I mean, those guys, watch what happens up front. The offensive line picked up the stunt. Ricky puts the ball up, puts enough air under it to give Williams a chance to put the move on the defensive back and still make a nice extended, good football catch.
First and 10, the handoff to Clack. He tries to cut back inside and is wrestled down after a pickup of about 3 yards.
Couple things about David Williams now. He has worked against those 2 cornerbacks nearly all year, and he has worked for 2 years with Ricky Foggy. So even though he's a traded guy, I mean, he knows both sides of the ball. He knows his own quarterback. He also knows the defensive backs of Edmonton. He practices against them every day, or he used to. So 4 catches for 112 yards, not bad. He's had 4 for 1 just about every time he's played. Last year, 5 catches, touchdown. This time,
on the 2nd and 6 play, the pass was intended again for David Williams. He stretched out, couldn't quite cradle that football as he came down.
almost every time he's caught 4 passes, one of them has been a touchdown, Don. Watch him stretch out again. He tried to make a Paul Masadi catch there, but the ground made him cough it up.
Lance Chomik comes into the ball game to attempt a 24-yard field goal. 12:56, the time remaining in the third quarter. So the Argos extend their lead 23-4. They're now in front of the Eskimos. They didn't get it into the end zone, but the big play was a 48-yard pass from Ricky Foggy to David Williams. I talked about the other Toronto-Edmonton trade. That, of course, was between the NHL Oilers and the Maple Leafs. Grant Fuhr, Glenn Anderson, and Craig Berube coming to the Toronto Argonauts, with Vincent Damphousse, the key man, going to the Edmonton Oilers.
What did you think of Grant when he was talking to you the other day? Do you think he was excited? He was happy?
I had an interesting conversation with him last night. He's looking forward to the challenge in Toronto. And there's no question the Maple Leafs are looking forward to Grant Fuhr tending goal for them during the course of the upcoming NHL season.
You gave him great advice. You told him to play hard.
Play hard and stop the puck.
Well, this is a strange phenomenon. Alisic is tying up his shoe. That looks like Dave Cutler back in the old days. That's to make sure that that thing really gets trajectory. What he wants to do is hit the ball in the bottom third, and he's got his toe tied up so tight. If he hits it, it's going to go a long way. He's averaging 61 yards, I think, is average.
Olisic is one kickoff man who is certainly capable of putting it in the end zone. The gizmo on the return. He brings it back to the 45-yard line, and that was Don Wilson who made the tackle, limiting the return to 32 yards. When you talk about speed, this man certainly knows how to motor, although he has had trouble in coming back from his suspension. He did not fare well in Tokyo at the recent World Championships, but Ben Johnson is going to be competing this winter in Australia.
I'd like to see him return some kicks.
At one time, the Argos were quite interested in getting him into a football uniform. Knocked down by Ed Barry, and there's also a penalty flag. Sandusky was the intended receiver. 12:23 remaining in the third quarter.
Sandusky's working on Ed Barry. And once again, he's trying to put the move on him, but the move was put on by the
Edmonton number 57. First down repeated.
The move was put on by the offensive line, Ambrosi, I think against Hallman. And Hallman's been really active in that pass rush all night.
That takes the ball back to the 35-yard line. First and 20 for the Eskimos. They trail by 19 points. Brian Warren forced Warren Jones back to the inside, and he assisted in the takedown along with Harold Hallman.
There was that twist stunt again. Hallman was lined up over the nose. He got an inside move by Campbell, and he came all the way around the corner. Watch him come all the way around Campbell, outside. They can't get off in time. He makes the sack. He had some help in there by Brian Warren.
At the 30-yard line now, it's second and 25, Edmonton. Donnie Malone from his linebacking position drops Warren Jones for a loss back inside the 20-yard line. The fourth sack tonight as a concerned Ron Lancaster looks on. Warren Jones has a good throwing arm, but he is not a great runner.
You see Harding working his way through there. Darrell Ford came in. They ran a two-linebacker stunt, and they lassoed him and brought him down. You know the blitz is coming when they get you in those long yardage situations.
It's now 3rd and 37, and Jerry Corrick stands back inside his own 5-yard line. He'll have a tough job just getting the ball much beyond the original line of scrimmage.
I wonder what is a good play when it's 3rd and 37.
Hope that the lights go out, that you have a power failure.
Bear Bryant used to say, that's when I go back and get a drink. Let the quarterback call his own plays. Kenny Stabler used to say, I'll run a draw play and get out of here alive.
Good high punt by Corrick. Rocket waits for it up to 52. Ryan Walling was the first man to make contact with him at the 53 of the Edmonton Eskimos with 10:54 remaining in the third quarter.
Silver medalist in the World Championships in the decathlon, Mike Smith, is at Skydome tonight. Mike, how's it been since Tokyo, and in the subsequent euphoria, have you been able to focus, think at all about Barcelona and a chance at a gold there?
Oh, it's definitely in the back of my mind, but I've had a chance to take some time off, play a little bit of golf, so I'm enjoying my relaxation, but I'm ready. I'll be getting ready for next year, probably this week.
Argonauts have placed you on their negotiation list. Now, I know it'd be foolish to ask if you're going to practice with this team next week, but I do want to know if you're thinking at all about the prospect of a pro football career as an option at some point.
Well, I always keep my options open, and I really enjoyed football in high school, and that's definitely an option for me.
Mike, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Don?
On the reverse, the Rocket running with the ball for a gain of about 9. Ricky Foggy managed to get out in front and screen cornerback Doug Parrish. And there's also a penalty on the play, a face mask call.
Edmonton number 94, first down Toronto.
It's called against Michel Bourgeau, so that takes the ball to the 29.
Well, they did a toss sweep right here, and the Rocket comes back around on the reverse. And watch him go. They just toss it back to the Rocket. He outruns everybody.
Back to the live action. Foggy for the Rocket. He's got it for a first down at the 13. He made the catch in front of Eddie Thomas. One of the concerns Lancaster had in playing the Argos and the Rocket is that he lines up in so many different positions. You have to be aware of his position on the field at all times.
He went up for the football. You know, that's what Ron Lancaster told us. He said he is not just a receiver. He's a football player. And he showed it on that play because he took a good hit, came down, and secured the football. The play before, nice reverse.
First and 10 from the 12. Foggy to the end zone for Williams. Touchdown.
From up high, watch Ricky Foggy throw the ball. Williams is making his break inside, then he broke back outside. He is really working the defensive secondary. People he knows well, he practiced against them every day.
His second touchdown of the game, extending the lead to 29-4, and with the point after by Lance Shawmick, it's a 34 game. We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff after this. With Williams in the lineup and with the pinball due to return next week, this Argo offense will be even more explosive. This is the touchdown throw. Foggy to David Williams, his second touchdown catch of the ball game.
It sure didn't look like Foggy hesitated at all. He was waiting for Williams to make the break. He shuffle stepped, pumped the ball once, and then he put it out there. Look how happy he is. He got that thing right in there. Ricky Foggy's playing a good ball game.
He's averaging 24.3 yards per completion. Lance Shawmick kicking it off. It's a short kick that is taken by Thomas on the run, but he can't get beyond the 40-yard line. Williams now leads in touchdowns as a pass receiver with 11. He had 9, while with the Edmonton Eskimos, 37 receptions in all, 11 of them for touchdowns. Pitts of Calgary has 10. Sandusky and Ellis of the Eskimos, each with 8 touchdowns as pass receivers, and that's what the Eskimos were looking for, was balance in their passing attack, and they certainly had him prior to the trade of David Williams. Reggie Taylor to the outside for a first down to the 53 of the Argos with 9:08 remaining in the third quarter. There's an injured Toronto player. Harold Hallman is down.
That was a nice run by Reggie Taylor. What he did is he got some blocking out in front of him, and he was very effective going into the secondary. Hallman downfield in a pursuit course. Looks like he's having some ankle problems. Could be his knee. But that grass, that turf, artificial turf, has a tendency to bite. You have such good traction. Sometimes you go to make a move and your foot sticks where it shouldn't be.
Hallman is now moving into an area of the field where they had a problem yesterday. They had a water main break underneath the artificial turf. So yesterday, despite the fact that it was very cool in Toronto, they opened the roof of the Sky Dome to try and assist in drying out the artificial turf. Tonight, of course, the roof is closed.
Well, there's Hallman. He's skipping over. It looks like they're just massaging his shin splint, possibly a cramp. Let's hope it's not a serious injury. But he's in his pursuit course. And you can see, I think it's just cramped up. They're just massaging that. Hey, you want to talk about problems, Don? How'd you like to be in Olympic Stadium in Montreal?
Let's not even talk about that. I know there were days when you were with the Alouettes and the Concorde. Actually, you were with the Concorde. That you were a little concerned about some of the areas around your football office.
Our office was field level. That was under a lot of concrete.
Tracy Ham, who is due to return next week. And Ron Lancaster will certainly be happy to have Ham in the lineup for the game on Friday against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Eskimos have averaged 478 yards per game this season. Tonight they're well below that with 8:57 remaining in the third quarter.
Tracy Ham was trying to get Ron Lancaster to smile, loosen up a little bit, because Tracy Ham knows when he's back in that lineup, it's a whole new ball game.
Another good run by Taylor. Back-to-back efforts by the Edmonton running back for consecutive first downs. A 12-yard pickup with Darryl Ford making the tackle, and those two runs by Taylor, the Eskimos have picked up more yards than they did in the entire first half.
This play was supposed to come here, but watch Reggie Taylor cut it all the way back to here. He shows people where the hole is. That gives his offensive, watch him cut all the way back behind it. His offensive line likes that. Now they're going to get some movement on people.
Weinberg on the sidelines is caught by Reggie Pleasant.
Now I think Jones is starting to get a good feel. He's running games going. That really helps the quarterback because he gets the extra protection. Now they're going with the short yardage. Watch out for Wilson. That's the guy that stopped Marshall on the last play when they were in short yardage. All the big guys are in there. The tight ends, the wing backs, they're all big guys over 230 pounds.
Williams, Blue, Souls, and Walling come into the ball game for the Eskimos in short yardage. Blake Marshall is not going to be stopped this time as he drives inside the 25-yard line.
Oh, Blake Marshall, he didn't go outside that time. He went right up through the middle, and that's what he's good at.
Good lead block by Randy Ambrosi, and the University of Western Ontario product charged right through.
Marshall's only got 12 yards tonight, but you know he's got 16 touchdowns, and I'll bet you he gets one before the night's over. Or two.
13 of those touchdowns have been along the ground. First and 10 Edmonton. The ball is at the 24 of the Argos. 7:05 remaining in the third quarter. Reggie Taylor is caught almost as soon as he took the handoff by Darryl Ford, and now there's a penalty flag. Blake Dermott is really upset.
Well, I don't think he's a marquee. I mean, you know, the offensive line, those big guys, they're not marquee. They're tough, hard-working guys. They sweat every day. Every play they get a headache. Every day they crack heads. You can't call them marquees.
Forget late hits just against marquee players. Late hits against any player should draw a penalty.
Darryl Ford didn't buy the draw play. He was right up. He got him in a leg hold trap, and Reggie Taylor couldn't get out of it.
Objection of conduct. Edmonton number 50. Second down.
Blake Dermott, guilty of the objectionable conduct call. Dermott is playing center since the injury to Rod Conniff.
I don't feel bad about Dermott's penalty because he was trying to protect Reggie Taylor's bad leg. They haven't gotten the yardage they wanted tonight rushing, but the game isn't over yet.
Second and 23. Pass intended for Sandusky. He was being defended by Ed Berry.
You see, Edmonton's coming out of their personality a little bit. They have solid rushing game, and you saw in that series what they're capable of on the rushing department. If they're getting into passing situations, that's really not their personality. Third down and 23 yards.
Yes, but don't forget that when Tracy Ham is in the lineup, he makes things happen for other players.
Oh, he sure does. He buys time, makes it work. And Jim Sandusky told me yesterday that when Tracy Ham's in there, he always gets open because he has time.
Field goal by Jerry Korick is good. A 44-yard field goal with 6:15 remaining. 23 points, the difference between the Argos and the Eskimos. And now let's go to Scott Oakes.
Well, some
Shameless self-promotion now of the award that just will not go away, but darn it, we're proud to offer a cheap trophy and a pizza shirt to the player who wins the CBC's Return to Sender Award. 4 years ago, Gizmo Williams' life changed when he got a fabled melon jacket and promptly became one of the league's great players. This year, he's going to have to catch Willis Jaycox of Saskatchewan, who leads in punt and kick return yardage. Williams dominates in punt returns, doesn't get a chance to return as many kickoffs as Jaycox does. And controversy here, Don. I talked to the Giz yesterday. He said he's seen the shirt, he has seen the trophy, he'd be happy to finish second. It's a dangerous attitude, and I understand at the next CBC board meeting, they'll be discussing if Gizmo should be stripped of his melon jacket.
I think we should give the jacket to Willis Jaycox. If he doesn't like the melon jacket, we'll give it back if he doesn't like the shirt.
Foggy has a 24.3-yard completion record per pass. Jones, 9.3 yards per completion. The Rocket bounces to the outside and then runs out of room. Jordan Gartner got over there to make the tackle with help from Jed Roberts. That was a 22-yard run back after a 61-yard kickoff. That was a pretty good acquisition that the Toronto Argonauts made a year ago when they got this man to back up Matt Dunnigan. They got him from the BC Lions.
A good acquisition.
A great acquisition because he played most of the season after the injury to Dunnigan and posted some impressive numbers. And he's going to play a large portion of this season as well.
They got him free. They got him free from the Lions. Who signed that kid?
Forget what his name was. His initials were Joe Galat. Foggy runs it out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and he's holding that left leg.
Right in that wet area you talked about, Don. In fact, he and the official went down at the same time. There's a sort of a wet area right along the chains. Foggy's limping a little bit.
Well, they had a Zamboni out here trying to soak up some of the water from that water main break, and as I said, they had the roof open, but there are still wet patches on the artificial turf.
That's why they opened the roof yesterday. They were letting that wind swirl around in here to try to get it dry, and it dried up most of it, but there is a patch down along the 40-yard line. Watch Foggy come over. You can see a little dark spot there. That's right where he went down. Of course, he's being pulled down.
There was an offside call against the Eskimos. That moves the ball out to the 43-yard line. It's 1st and 5 Toronto now with 5:26 remaining in the third quarter. Foggy slipped as he attempted to make the cut, got back to the line of scrimmage and no further.
Oh, the pinball's one of the greatest PR guys. He will be mayor. He will be mayor. He will be a senator. He's going to be something someday because everybody votes for him.
I think that CBC shirt would look good with those shorts he's wearing.
Probably would match very well. Can you believe Foggy come back and run an option play after he hurt his leg? Only Ricky Foggy would make that call.
2nd and 5, movement at the line of scrimmage. Brett Williams jumped. Now, was he offside or was there procedure? I think someone on that Argo offensive line may have moved, and I think it was Bob Skemp.
You know, they know Brett Williams has a hair trigger. I mean, he'll go on anything. So they tempt him.
Legal procedure. Toronto number 14. Still 2nd down.
A lot of times the offensive linemen will open their hand or fist, or they'll close their fist or do something real quick. Hope the officials don't see it just to draw the defense offside.
Well, the Argos have not run the ball effectively tonight either. The Eskimos certainly haven't.
It's been an aerial attack. They forgot the ground war tonight.
There's part of that aerial attack. The rocket is open. Goodbye.
Edmonton.
Lance Chomick with the point after. And the Argos are totally dominating this rematch at the Skydome. We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff after this.
Hi, I'm Don Poyer. Join me every month for Husky Profile. Husky Profile examines the sports, the coaches, the student athletes, and the people and programs of the University of Washington that make it one of the premier collegiate athletic forums in the country. Husky Profile, only on Prime Sports Northwest. Husky Profile, brought to you by Rainier Beer and by Dairy Queen.
This season, Prime Sports Northwest unleashes the dogs on Sunday night. Don't settle for Mickey Mouse highlights when you can get every play of every game of the leaders of the pack on Prime Sports Northwest. Just remember, these dogs like to leave their mark. Be aware of the dogs. Sunday nights on Prime Sports Northwest, home of the Pac-10. The Wildcats are in the doghouse for a hair-raiser with the Huskies. Sunday, September 29th at 8 Pacific.
Once the Rocket gets behind a defender, you can say goodbye, and that was a 72-yard touchdown strike. Ricky Foggy to the Rocket.
Here's the Rocket. What they do is they run Darrell K. Smith, and he picks the guy covering the Rocket, and it's a touchdown. Nobody can take him. He picked him off. He rubbed him, and the Rocket gets one step. He's gone.
On the kickoff return, Chris Armstrong with a big run back, getting the ball into Toronto territory at the 48-yard line, forced out of bounds by Lance Chomick. A 33-yard kickoff return by Chris Armstrong. 4:10 is the time remaining in the third quarter. 37-7 the score.
They're man-to-man, but they pick. They come in. You see the little rub there? They call that a rub. And what can Eddie Thomas do? He got knocked off, and the Rocket went all the way. Don't give him a step.
Sandusky forced out of bounds by Barry with an Edmonton first down.
That looks like a simple play, but there's a lot of timing involved in the quarterback delivering the ball as he makes the break. Warren Jones hasn't had the practice time that Tracy Ham has had, but that was good timing on that one.
First and 10. The ball is at the 32 of the Argos. The toss to Taylor. Taylor cuts back and draws a crowd right at the line of scrimmage. Brian Warren was the first to make contact with him. That 72-yard touchdown pass to the Rocket boosted his all-purpose yardage in this game to 195 yards, 107 as a pass receiver, 8 as a rusher, 58 as a punt returner, and 22 on kickoff returns.
Is that a good year or a great year?
Reggie Taylor makes the catch, spins away from a tackle by Brian Warren, and gets inside the 15-yard line.
Well, there's Reggie Taylor. That's vintage Reggie Taylor. That's the kind of effort that he gave all of last year. That's why he was the leading ground gainer. But watch this. He shakes loose, makes a nice catch, shakes loose. Now watch the determination here. He's driving and pulling and digging and get out of here. And then he takes off and runs over somebody else. Reggie Pleasant finally had to make the stop.
From the 14, first and 10, Warren Jones trying to swing it out to Blake Marshall. It will be second and 10.
Looks like Warren Jones gets hurried sometimes when he doesn't have to. That's the experience you get. You know, he broke every record at Hawaii. This guy can throw the football, no question, but it looks like he gets in situations sometimes where he hurries the throw, and it's not the kind that he wants to get out there. Blake Marshall could have caught the ball, but it wasn't a great throw.
And part of that is inexperience.
And that's what Ron Lancaster wants to do. He wants to get him in there. There's only one way to learn.
Jones stands in there, throws to Marshall. Marshall's got a touchdown, his 17th this season, his 4th as a pass receiver. He's crossed the goal line 13 times as a runner.
I thought it was interesting. Ricky Foggy said when you get in a ball game and you're not used to it, it's like turning it up 100 times. The speed is 100 times. But this is what Warren Jones needs. Watch him step up. Nice job, avoid the rush. Stepped up. Holman was in there. Holman's having a great game. But he puts it to Marshall, and Marshall makes people miss. I think people would rather miss that big guy. You don't see too many guys that size that can catch and run.
He is also a leader for the Eskimos, not so much in the dressing room, but by his actions on the field. The point after by Jerry Carrick. 2:09 the time remaining in this third quarter. 37-14 the score. The Argos leading the Eskimos. For Blake Marshall, his 50th career touchdown. Well, I'm sure the number he is looking at is 21. That means he would go into the CFL record book as the single-season touchdown leader. Last year, Darrell Smith tied Pat Abruzzi's record of 20 touchdowns in one season. Marshall now has 17 this year.
With 7 games to go. Look at this guy. Now, that's a guy you can block for. You better block for him because he'll run you over. You look, he always talks to offensive linemen. They like him because he's one of them. He's a big, tough guy. Sort of a teddy bear.
He's the type of back who will certainly take on a backer.
The Rocket's deep.
And the Rocket is going to return the kick. He is stopped at the 42-yard line by Mike McLean.
What's great about that is he took the ball up the middle. You see, the Rocket doesn't try to avoid people and go outside. He goes right up the middle.
And with a 20-yard run back, he now has 215 all-purpose yards in tonight's football game.
Wait till that guy grows up. He'll be a good player someday.
2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Pretty good numbers for Ricky Foggy. 4 touchdown throws, 2 of them to David Williams.
He had 7 TDs passing against Hamilton, so that's not his best ever.
Statue of Liberty play with Darrell K. Smith and Larry Ruck. Smelled that one out, and the Saskatoon Hilltop product came through to make the tackle.
If you're going to run that play, you got to have some depth, and Darrell K. didn't have enough depth. I mean, he's in line with Foggy. He's going to get tackled. You've got to be deep and get out around it.
A loss of 12. It will be 2nd and 22 from the 30-yard line.
Ron Lancaster, he really likes Ruck. He said he's the consistent, steady, smart football player.
Rarely makes a mistake. Foggy with time to throw, and the Rocket is wide open. Now, most receivers would have immediately gone out of bounds on that play, but the Rocket with his speed attempted to split the 2 defenders, David Shelton and Eddie Thomas.
I think David Shelton thought he was going to go out of bounds, and he eased up. He stood up straight. When he saw the Rocket come back inside, now he had to flex his knees and get back out there. I think you're right, Don. That's a good effort.
1st and 10 Toronto. The Argos are at the Edmonton 51-yard line. 29 seconds remaining in the half. Ismail go wide right. Foggy is going to throw deep for the Rocket. Incomplete. Double coverage in the end zone, and there's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Bourgeot came charging through the middle, and anybody's guess, it could be roughing against the quarterback, or it could be holding his offensive line. Well, it's a double.
Penalties are hurting the Edmonton Eskimos when they can least afford to have yardage marched off against them.
got to be discouraging for the secondary because they actually came out there and played it really well.
Edmonton number 14.
The Rockets got Eddie Thomas one-on-one.
Objection of conduct. Edmonton number 94. First down, Toronto.
The objectionable conduct against Michel Bourgeot. That takes the ball to the 8-yard line. It's first and goal, Toronto. Where's the Rocket going to line up this time? He's going to go wide left. Flack, the lone man behind quarterback Ricky Foggy. Foggy throws intended for Darrell Smith. He's got it. He outjumped David Sheldon to haul in that Ricky Foggy throw.
Well, this has happened so many times when you get Darrell K. Smith one-on-one, and he's a big, strong guy. He lifts weights. He just outjumps him, outfights him, really, for the football. Not bad for the coverage, but you're up against a bigger guy. When you get a receiver that can run and jump and reach up with a strong grip, as Adam Rita would say, a strong grip, you got a touchdown, and Foggy is delivering that football.
Lance Chomick to add the point after. The Argos leading the Eskimos. A milestone for Darrell Smith. His 400th career reception results in a touchdown.
Nobody works harder in his pass routes than Darrell Smith. And I know he was getting frustrated. He saw David Williams catching all that football, all those footballs for touchdown. Look at Foggy. He's happy. Give him a low 5. Give me another low 5. This Foggy is something. Look at him. What an athlete. You know, you saw him run a little bit the first part of the ball game. Now he's just throwing the ball.
5 touchdown passes tonight. 2 of them to David Williams, 1 to the Rocket. The most recent to Darrell K. Smith. Paul Masadi on the receiving end of the first. Now Hank Alisic prepares to kick off again. They have alternated between Alisic and Lance Chomick on those kickoff assignments. The Argos have been a big play team in tonight's ball game, striking quickly, 5 plays, driving 68 yards for the major score. Of course, they were assisted by those penalties on the same play, the interference and the objectionable conduct call. The ball bounces away from the gizmo. He picks it up at the 2-yard line. He's brought down by Floyd Salazar as he hits the 25-yard line. That was a 23-yard return by Henry Williams. Surprisingly, the Eskimos have the edge in first downs. And they also have held the football for just over 7 minutes more than the Eskimos. Not much of a rushing attack by either side tonight, but Ricky Foggy has held the hot hand in the passing game.
I think the turnovers and penalties have been the downfall of Edmonton.
Warren Jones fakes the draw play. The pass incomplete, knocked down by Darryl Ford. It was intended for Craig Ellis.
I thought maybe Blake Marshall was going to be the intended receiver, but Ellis came back to the inside, and it looks like Brazeley's down on the field. I think he tripped right over Ellis at the right at the end of the ball play there. Brazeley's had some trouble.
Warren Jones's numbers aren't all that bad. 19 of 32 for 196 yards. 1 interception, however, late in the first half led to a touchdown. That was the pass that Carl Brazeley picked off, and Carl Brazeley is the injured player.
Yeah, they tripped over each other, and I think what Brazeley's doing is a little bit concerned with his. He had that problem, back problem before, and it looks like they're taking a good hard look at him. 12-year veteran.
While we have an opportunity, we'd like to say hello to Rod Smiley, an Argo, another era.
Well, Hallman's given Dermott a lot of trouble. He's been upfield all day, so this would be a good time to watch Hallman on second and long yardage.
Almost intercepted. Don Wilson anticipated that pass going to Sandusky on the sidelines. Wilson, right on the sidelines, was reaching up for it, and his momentum almost carried him right up into the stands.
The fans wouldn't have minded that. They kind of liked him over there. He got a rousing applause.
13:37 remaining in the fourth quarter. 44-14. The Argos leading the Eskimos. Korrick has averaged 38.3 yards per kick tonight. Alisic 40.6. Korrick is punting this time to Darrell K. Smith.
Korrick's been under more duress.
That will certainly reduce his average as he shanked that one out of bounds. They'll spot the ball at the 36-yard line. That was only a 10-yard kick. 13-15 remains in the ball game. 5 possessions. The Argos have scored 31 points, 4 converted touchdowns, and a field goal.
That's when you're on a roll. So now they got Gillis in there to see what he can do. And, you know, Gillis he's a capable guy, can throw that ball deep.
He gives to Darrell Clack, who's caught immediately by Benny Goods.
Benny Goods said, wait a minute, you're not going to pull that one on us.
Willie Gillis hasn't seen much action this season, completing 50% of his passes. He has yet to throw a touchdown. He has had 1 pass intercepted.
He's got a good, strong arm, and he likes to go deep. One of the things that they have done, you notice Toronto, you alluded to this earlier, Don, that they didn't throw to the backs. More tonight than ever, Toronto has been keeping their backs in to pass protect. I think the fact that you got quarterbacks injured is why they're protecting their quarterback a little bit more.
Well, Willie Gillis has moved in to replace Ricky Foggy as the Toronto quarterback. It would appear that Ron Lancaster is going to make a change over on the Eskimo side of the field. Tom Mickey, who initially came into the CFL as a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, signed as a free agent in September of this year with the Edmonton Eskimos to take over for Warren Jones. Dan Ferroni limping off, playing in his 170th CFL game tonight.
That's a perfect body. That's what you want when you have an offensive lineman. You see how wide he is? You got to go around him. He's a good pasta-eating offensive lineman. That's the kind of guy I would want pass protecting if I were a quarterback. Unfortunately, I'm a pasta eater. Good game, Danny Ferroni. That's one of the better linemen in the league, too, as well as Conop.
Blaine Schmidt comes into the ball game to take his place. Smelly, the handoff, loses the football, and the Eskimos have recovered. Larry Ruck comes up with the football. Willie Pless perhaps jarred that ball away from Kevin Smelly after Leroy Blue had made the initial contact.
There's Blue. And then Ruck is opportunistic. Reaches over, picks the ball up. And that's the guy we said is very consistent. Solid, good-looking linebacker. I like linebackers with thick necks.
Quarterbacking change for the Edmonton Eskimos as Tom Mickey takes over, 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line with 12:06 remaining in the game. Mickey dumps it off to Taylor, and Taylor has a gain of about 4. He was driven back, but his forward progress will be marked up at the 44-yard line.
Well, Mickey delivered the ball to Reggie Taylor. Taylor slowed down a little bit with that brace. He has to wear the brace all year. The surgeon performed a good operation. He said he had to keep that brace on to protect the leg, and I think it affects him.
When Mickey came into the Canadian Football League out of Baylor, he had some impressive college credentials when he joined the Blue Bombers. He throws to Jay Weinberg, and that will be an Edmonton first down.
Mickey's one of those War Eagles. And, you know, when the War Eagles face the Tide, the Crimson Tide, that's like war. So Mickey's been in some big ball games, and he's certainly capable of coming in and doing some things for Edmonton. I think it's good to get him in there, get him some work. Warren Jones has taken some hits tonight, but he's gotten a lot of experience.
First and 10, the ball at the 53. Mickey dumps it off to Taylor, and Taylor has a gain of 5. Campbell was in pursuit of Tom Mickey, and he simply tossed it over the rushing lineman.
Pierre Vercheval did a super job. Watch Holman come through. He puts the Olay on Dermott. Now watch him come through. Now watch Pierre come back in. Pierre got the legs out from under him, gave Mickey a chance to recover. That's a nice second effort by Vercheval.
Holman didn't think it was so nice.
Yeah, he didn't like that at all.
Second and 5, Edmonton. The ball is at the 53 of the Argos. 3-step drop. That pass complete to Weinberg. It'll be close to a first down, depending on where they spot his forward progress. Chris Gaines, the linebacker, came over to make the tackle.
We keep telling you about running stunts. Now watch this lineman come in, but here's Holman coming all the way around to the outside to get the pressure. That's what we call a twist stunt. They try to confuse the offensive blockers, and it works. It really pinches the offensive lineman in. Defensive lineman comes around, usually untouched.
They're a yard short of a first down, and the Eskimos are going after it on 3rd and 1. Blake Marshall gets the call and gets the first down as he battles to the 45.
Well, he had a chance. If he had gotten a cutback, there was a big lane opening up. See how Marshall gave a shot to Chris Gaines?
The Argos have scored in every quarter. Their most productive, the third, where they picked up 17 points. The Eskimos have yet to register a point in this fourth quarter. The hitch screen to Sandusky. Sandusky gets away from Harding. And a play that might have been stopped for no gain by some nifty maneuvering on the part of Sandusky results in a 6-yard advance. Darryl Ford over to make the tackle.
Well, for Chris Gaines as the middle linebacker to get out there and help out, I mean, that's good hustle, good effort. For Harding to get over there, that's almost impossible.
I know you don't like that hitch screen, do you?
Well, I don't like it. Just you team up too many people on one guy. I don't like that. I like to have a chance. I like to go towards the goal line.
2nd and 4, Edmonton. The ball is at the 39. Too far for Craig Ellis. He was being covered by Carl Brazeley, who obviously has recovered from that injury.
Well, I think they wanted to see if he recovered, huh? It looked like they were testing Brazeley. Had the ball been delivered, I think he might have gotten open low and outside where you want the ball, because he made a good move inside on Brazeley.
Tom Mickey at the controls for the Eskimos, taking over for starter Warren Jones. Tracy Ham dressed, but not playing tonight because of an injury. He will suit up next week, we understand, Friday night against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Pass falls short of Jim Sandusky on the sidelines. On 3rd down, the Eskimos will send out their punting units.
Boucher fight many times on the CBC. You're all set to defend your Canadian and Commonwealth Championship in Winnipeg next month.
Right, I'm fighting a man by the name of Stan Cunningham. He's number 4 Canadian to my title, and I'll be fighting him on October 17 in Winnipeg.
Tell me about having taught a big guy from the Argos how to box, Chris Schultz.
Well, I was teaching Chris a little bit how to work the jab and stuff like that. Stay strong, because I know it's a physical game of football, right? So I was teaching him a little bit how to box, and he's a very good fighter eventually. It turned out to be good, but he went back to football, so I'll teach teaching him how to box a little bit.
Thanks, Donovan. I may have seen Chris Schultz use that jab on the O-line out there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Don?
Willie Pless intercepting the pass. I've heard of hockey players taking boxing lessons, but not too often have I heard of football players taking boxing lessons.
Well, they ought to tell Donovan that those linemen, they box every play. That's basically what they're doing. They're punching those other defenders away from them. So watch Chris Schultz. He knows how to box. You know, I used to box a little bit. Then I met a guy that used to box a lot.
Yeah.
I had trouble with my hands. The referee kept stepping on them.
Willie Pless intercepting the pass by Willie Gillis. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. Mickey throwing for Craig Ellis. Touchdown.
Oh, that could have been there a couple other times tonight. Craig Ellis was open, breaking down in the seam. You got to give Mickey some credit. He put the ball right in there. Willie Pless set that up with a nice interception off his own coverage. Good pass protection. Receiver ran a good route. And Mickey put it right in there. Watch Mickey. He's getting very little pressure. He puts it right down the seam. Ellis in for the touchdown. That could have happened a couple other times tonight. He was open. The ball just didn't get there.
Well, Craig Ellis with that reception keeps alive a streak. Now 97 consecutive games with at least one catch. The Argos had shut him out until he grabbed that and took it into the end zone. Craig Ellis coming into this game had these career numbers: 493 receptions, 6,317 yards.
Campbell tried to get up and bat that ball away, but that's a nice delivery by Mickey. It's right down the seam.
Jerry Corrick spinning the ball as it's picked off by Carl Braisley.
Toronto expected an onside kick. They had all of their receivers and backs in there, which they call their hands team. And Braisley got the corner on that thing.
A 17-yard return by Carl Braisley. That ball took an unusual spin on the artificial turf, and Braisley picked it off very alertly and provided the Argos with pretty good field position at the 52. Well, it looks very much as though the Argo streak is going to remain intact here at the Sky Dome. This will be their 8th consecutive game.
I think they want to take a good look at this guy, Clack. He hasn't really been impressive. He hadn't gotten the ball all that much, but when he does get the football, Pless has been right with him.
As we mentioned earlier, the last time the Argos lost at the Dome was in 1990 on October the 13th, 21-16 to Winnipeg.
Good job by Willie Pless coming right in, making a hit. But Bourgeau made him reroute, made him change direction, and that helped.
2nd and 4. The ball is at the 52 of the Eskimos. Draw play, and Clack is hit in the backfield by Mike McLean.
Nice hit by McLean. That is a good, solid front-up hit. And you saw where Clack went. Nowhere. And he closed the door.
A University of Alberta product, primarily a backup, making a big defensive play for the Eskimos, stopping Clack as soon as he got the football. Then he got some help from Larry Ruck.
Beckstead's got Bourgeau this time. He's going to try to, well, maybe he just held him a little bit. But McLean was there, and he did the job. He closed the door.
5:44 remaining in the game. Malisic stands at his own 40-yard line. The Gizmo waits for the kick at his own 12. He brings the ball back to the 23, and that's where the Eskimos will scrimmage 1st and 10 when we return.
In the NFL, well, what can I say? It's the CFL Wilkes-Barre. Here we are.
And the Rockets in the CFL to stay.
And
Can I quote you on that?
Rocket is in the CFL to stay.
You come up to every home game.
I make every home game, or if not, I get a family member or a personal friend to cover the game for me.
All right, Mrs. Ismail, thanks for your time. Enjoy what's left of this game.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Nice to meet you.
Goodbye. Okay. See ya.
Well, what do you think, Don?
She's a very happy lady and very proud of her son, and well, she should be. Reggie Taylor to the outside and forced out of bounds by Reggie Pleasant at the 51-yard line.
I like that. He's not a crybaby. I like that. When your mother tells you you can't be a crybaby, you come out tough. That's why the kid's so tough.
Well, we can't dispute that he is a very talented individual as a receiver and as a kick returner, and he has proven that he can take a hit.
And he's just a youngster. You know, I think that's what a lot of people forget. He'll get better and better and better. Just like Hallman. He keeps getting better and better and better. This guy's playing a really solid football game. I mean, he's upfield every play. I think he hit the ball and hurt his hand.
He has been the Argos' best defensive lineman in tonight's football game. 4:20 is the time remaining. Mickey on second down, rolling out, running into Don Moan, and Moan forced him into Harold Allman. Mickey turned around, and all he saw was a wave of blue coming after him.
Well, what Mickey's got to do is change the start count. If you go on the same sound every time, you're going to find 4 people in the backfield. I mean, there's a bunch of people in there to meet him when he tries to set up to throw the football, but Hallman's second effort is what gets him through to make the sack.
34,895 watching the action tonight at the Sky Dome, and I'm sure the majority of spectators are enjoying what they've witnessed much more than Edmonton coach Ron Lancaster. This kick bounces back towards the line of scrimmage. Corrick might get to it. Corrick tried to get to it, and I think he may have been blocked in his effort to get to the football as Reggie Pleasant dove on it, but Corrick was under a full head of steam heading for that football, and I think he may have just been pushed off course enough that his momentum carried him right to the sidelines.
Well, I'm sure there's some armchair quarterbacks and couch coaches out there that didn't like that, but I do believe he got pushed beyond the ball.
There was a penalty flag.
No yards. Edmonton number 43, bounce back, 5-yard penalty, first down Tony.
He could have recovered the football. He sees it bounce back, and Corrick is coming down the field with a lot of steam. I thought he was going to get the ball, but look what happens. He just got pushed beyond the ball.
And there was a no yards call against the Eskimos' Jed Roberts. Willie Gillis now throwing deep for Darrell Smith. Incomplete over his head and also over the head of the defensive back, Enos Jackson. 3:31 is the time remaining here at the Sky Dome. 44-21 is the score. Next Saturday, we have a doubleheader, but tomorrow we have a football game for you from Calgary. At 3 o'clock, Hamilton visits Calgary. Chris Cuthbert, Scott Russell, and Dan Kepley will be there to describe the action for you as the Stampeders take on the Ticats. And next weekend, we have a doubleheader for you on Saturday and Sunday.
I get the feeling Willie Gillis is trying to outduel Ricky Foggy. He wants to get a long touchdown every time Foggy gets one.
Gillis being chased by McLean. He gets away and then is knocked heavily out of bounds by Larry Ruck. Penalty flag over on the near side of the field. And when we return to the Sky Dome, we'll sort out that penalty call for you. Parrish has improved Toronto's field position. They are 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. 3:04 is the time remaining in the football game. 44-21, the Argos leading.
Happy birthday, Adam Rita.
Yes, that's his 44th birthday today. He celebrated the other night by going out to see Les Miserables. Gillis looking for David Williams. He can't catch up with it. That would have been his third touchdown of the night. He scored 2 on passes from Ricky Foggy.
I thought David Williams said something profound yesterday. They were talking to him about why he was upset about not getting the football. He said, hey, any athlete in any sport wants to be a contributor. And that's true. I don't think that should be something that should be held against him. He wants in the action, wants to be a contributor. That's to his credit.
One of the reasons that Williams became expendable in Edmonton, he was playing out his option and was not interested in re-signing with the Eskimos.
Bruce McNall's got a problem. David Williams is a playwright, a movie writer, script writer. So I know that he's going to be weekly. He's going to get visits from David Williams with a new script.
2:44 is the time remaining here at the Sky Dome.
Hey, and it's almost 6'8".
6'8", 275 pounds. Certainly wouldn't want to have him take a swing at me. Gillis for Williams. He can't hang on. In the corner of the end zone, Doug Parrish was defending against him. Adam Rita has to be extremely pleased that he has a talent such as David Williams to move into the lineup, replacing injured Jeff Boyd and Trumaine Johnson.
He's going for the hat trick here. Look at the nice stride that David has. Now he breaks loose. He got his jersey pulled. He's up for the ball, but the defender came over. Parrish did a good job just in time to disrupt it. Chris Schultz on that last play blocked 2 people. He boxed 2 people out of the play just as we talked about him.
Lance Chomick attempting a 39-yard field goal with 2:35 remaining in the game. It's good. 47-21. The Argos now lead the Eskimos. The Eskimos this year have averaged 41.7 points per game. Their lowest scoring game was their very first of the season, a victory over the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they scored just 34. Unless something dramatic happens in the final 2:30, this will be their lowest scoring game of the year.
And you know, when you think about Edmonton, they haven't been out of a ball game all year. They could have won at least. Ron knows 3 more ball games he could have had easily. You know, he alluded to that the other day. So maybe this is what they need, and they'll build from here. Tracy Ham gets back in the lineup. Everybody plays harder.
Talking about playing hard, Reggie Pleasant really laid a lick on Joe Weinberg as he made the catch at the 40-yard line.
Well, Reggie Pleasant loves to hit people, doesn't he? He's not a big guy, but he hits hard, hits big.
And on big plays, you'll notice that the players immediately focus their attention on the Jumbotron to watch a replay here at the Sky Dome. Michael Souls goes out of bounds with a first down at the 53-yard line. Forced out by Ed Berry. On nights like this, I'm sure Ron Lancaster must have some second thoughts about whether it was a wise move to leave the broadcast booth.
Well, that's the problem with coaching. There's a lot of lows, and there's a lot of highs, but I guess when you're in a broadcast booth, it's a little more stable.
Well, you found that out.
Not as it's not as low, I'll put it that way.
Tom Mickey is going deep. He was trying to get the ball to Weinberg, who had been bumped by Reggie Pleasant as he was running his pattern.
I don't think you want to discount Edmonton in that Western playoff. I think their defense is starting to come around, and that's all they really need. They get Tracy Ham back in there, look out. So it's going to be a playoff race in the West.
Well, there's a big difference when number 8 is directing the attack as opposed to number 6 Warren Jones or number 15 Tom Mickey. .205 remaining. 2nd and 10. Mickey's pass again intended for Weinberg, and once again Reggie Pleasant was defending.
Until you have people breathing down your throat and snorting and running at you and trying to knock you down as a quarterback, you haven't practiced. And this is practice for Mickey, just like it was practice for Warren Jones. That's when they get better. And Tracy Ham, he's had a lot of practice.
Well, Tracy Ham has had an outstanding year, completing 167 of 301 pass attempts so far for 24 touchdowns. He's also run the football himself for 754 yards, a 9.3-yard average.
He's a winner. When you look at a guy like Tracy Ham, you look at him on the sidelines, you can see a winner.
Craig Ellis on the receiving end of the throw, and he's caught from behind. He lost the football, but it bounced away after he hit the ground on the tackle by Chris Gaines. 1:49 is the time remaining.
Chris Gaines made a nice effort on that play. He's chasing Ellis down from behind zone coverage, turned and just ran and chased him down. Don't you get a good feeling watching Tracy Ham, though? You know what he can do, and he knows what he can do. He's not down at all. He's getting ready to come back.
Mickey lost the football as he tried to throw. It's picked up by Brian Warren. That ball simply slipped out of the grasp of Tom Mickey as he tried to cock his arm to throw. He had Harold Hallman breathing in his face, but the ball simply slipped out of his grasp. 51-yard line, 1:34 remaining.
Now let's see if Willie Gillis tries to outduel Foggy again, getting that ball down the field. Yeah, he's going to throw it downfield if he can get it off.
He can't get away from Benny Goods. He had Larry Ruck in on him initially, and there's a penalty flag as Willie Gillis was unhappy throwing the football after the tackle.
Well, I don't know why he's unhappy. I mean, if you're ahead 47-21 and you want to throw the football, you're going to get sacked. I mean, that's what happens. Why is he unhappy? I don't understand that.
Objection or conduct. Thrown on number 12. Second down.
You're not allowed to get sacked? What's the problem?
That takes the football back to the 24-yard line. Well, let's see how he fares on 2nd and 38.
Well, maybe he'll call another drop back and get mad when he gets sacked. What's a good call here, Don? 2nd and 38.
Give it to your best ball carrier.
The old quick kick. I'll bet that would work.
Matt Nealon into the ball game. J.P. Escuerdo also in there. Pass is intercepted by Willie Pless. Willie Pless is bounced out of bounds by Dan Ferrone at the 5.5. Willie Pless with his second interception of the ball game.
Well, Willie Pless is dropping back in coverage, and watch what he does. He'll make the break right underneath the receiver, and he looks like a fullback as he takes the ball down the field, and he says, hey, where's Foggy? Or where's Gillis? I'm going to spike this ball.
Maybe the reason Gillis got upset when he was sacked, he's now 0 for 5 with 2 interceptions.
And he got sacked. Well, if he'd throw the ball to some receivers who are open in intermediate areas until it's 2nd and 38, then he'd be okay, but he wants to throw it down the field.
First and goal for the Eskimos with 1:18 remaining. Marshall, he's got his 18th touchdown of the year, his 14th rushing. So it's a 2-touchdown night for Blake Marshall, and he now has 18 on the year, just 2 away from the league record.
I like the way his jaw is set. He went in there, he scored the touchdown, but he's